I believe that more students will be joining. Okay, we'll start with the module 3. And here, the starting point is that we will be discussing the concurrency and the parallelisms. Now, when we try to see this particular figure, in this figure, you can see that a process is entering into for a given task, and that process is executing out. And there is before this process is entering, there was some process was residing there, so it was waiting. And after the process is executed out, then this process occupied that place, and that's how the sequence keeps on going for the individual process. So here there are two things you have to keep it in mind, that every process that carries out in the computer systems, that systems has process is being monitored by the operating systems, and the operating systems try to see that how this process has to handle when it comes in an order or in a bulk order. So all these things is a tedious task, but the operating systems do it in a very comfortable manner without any much error, so that our system never hangs up. So there is a word like a concurrency. So concurrency, the term itself is states that it is the act of managing and running a multiple computations. So here is a single computation is showing, but if you try to see, everywhere every process is being computed, and also a new process is being also entering into that process for the further computation. So act of managing and running a multiple computations at the same time, then we term it as a concurrency. But what about a parallelism? Parallelism is it is the act of multiplying, it is the act of carrying out the multiple computations simultaneously. So there is a term is that at the same time and simultaneously are two different things. At the same time, when we talk about, you have to understand it talks about a quantum of times. And when you talk about a simultaneously, that means that two things can take place at the same instance. Thereby, only the processor load will be increasing. But when you talk about a concurrency, the processor load is not increasing, processor utilizations is increasing. So concurrency is a things which is respect to the processor utilizations, and parallelism is nothing but it is related to the processor efficiency. So that's how you have to understand this one. Now, based on this one, if you try to see this, my slide on the other side, this is what the concurrency means and parallelism is. If you try to see this one, this is the execution time, and this is the processor processing times. So execution time and processing time, if you try to see, every time here there is a different activities. It has to take place at the different intervals. Even if it has to take place at a different interval, if you try to watch it carefully, after a certain delay, only this one is coming. After a certain delay, this one is coming. After a certain delay, this is coming. After a certain delay, this is coming. But this delay is almost all close to nanoseconds. So that's why it is termed as a quantum of time. That's why it is treated as at the same time. Whereas here, if you try to see that every process is getting startup simultaneously. That's why this execution is taking place simultaneously. That's the difference between concurrency and the parallelisms. Now here, again further, if you go across this, in the case of a concurrency, the processes are sharing globally. There are some, in the concurrency, there are some issues are there. One is with sharing this process, maybe in the form of in a concurrent way, that is one. And if there is a global sharing is there, then how that particular sharing has to take place, so that there should not be a latency existing much. So that is that. Then how we are going to allocate which process should come first, which process should go second. All these things is another issues. Another is that when we operate in a concurrent mode, then there are chances that there may be a error in the process. So how that particular error it has to handle, that is the another task with respect to the concurrency. However, we will be talking about this concurrency, how it has to deal up. So to deal up, we will be talking some of the related terms in the subsequent discussions. Now here, something I am going to show you that is related to the critical sections. Now, what is critical sections? Critical section is that section where a critical section is that sections where the when the process is entering into some activities, at that instance, no other process should enter into that place. That means they can enter in a concurrent way, but they should not enter like a parallelism way. So that is how it has to be handled. But if the process is entering parallelly, and if the that particular process is not being handled to process the multiple tasks, then there are chances that the system may hang up. So at this point, you have to remember the critical section is basically that section that is only restricted to or permit only the a single process to enter, and at that instant the process, once it enters, it will be getting a wait signal. So wait signal is indicating that the process is entering, and somebody else who want to enter, it will be getting a wait. And once the process does the complete activities inside the critical section, it will get a signal that to exit out, and also a signal to the next process to enter into critical section. So that is what a critical sections means. So here I am showing some figure with respect to the critical section. If you try to see this particular figure, what you have understand is that there are three processes, P1, P2, P3, and there is a process, sorry, even process P4, and the process P1 is inside a box, and other process, it is standing outside. So that indicates that that is a critical sections. But in the second figure, if you try to see, in that particular figure, all the four processes simultaneously inside that one, inside that particular box. So any process which is inside that particular block, that is not treated as a critical sections. So that's why this is being given as a cross. So you have to understand that whenever the critical sections things comes, or in a technical words, we say that it's a set of instructions that controls the movement of each process under the region of operations. So that is what here it takes place. So here here there are two things takes place. One it allows the process to enter. Another, it allows the process to execute it out. So under these particular conditions, there should be a mutual understanding between the process which is inside the critical section and the process which is outside the critical section. So the understanding between the two processes, it is being it is said as a mutual exclusions. I repeat again, the understanding between two processes is termed as a mutual exclusions. Exclusion means keeping out, and mutual means there should be a mutual understanding that one should be able to keep out when other is in the active state. Now here it is given a set of instruction that must be controlled so as to allow exclusive access to one process. You see, exclusive access to one process. That means only one process is in the active state. Others are not in an active state. Now here, when we try to see, rarely access to the critical section is limited and to an end process instead of one process. That means only one process will allow to enter into this region, not all, not like this. So that is what. And execution of the critical section by process is mutually exclusive in time. That means there should be a counter that based on that timing only that particular critical section will take place. Now, if you try to see here, this is one process. This is another process. So when this process, let us think that when this process is entering, this is the entry point. And what is this one? This one is that nothing but our, in the module 2, we talked about scheduling. So we are having a burst time. So this is the burst time to for the CPU to execute this particular process. So this much time is needed. So this is entry time, this is the exit time. So if this process is in this particular mode, so the another process, it will not able to enter here. So that's why after this quantum of time, the next process will enter. So this is a concurrency behavior. So here you have to remember that we will be seeing this further slides there. Whenever this is a entering point, so this is a wait mode, and this is when this that means here is a wait mode, and once this is entering, this particular point is a signal point. You see, ഇത്രയും പാർട്ടാ signal. ഇവിടെ ഇത്രയും പാർട്ടാ വെയിറ്റ്, ഇത്രയും പാർട്ടാ സിഗ്നൽ. ഈ സിഗ്നൽ പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ that is a signal for this P1 to come out and P2 to enter. So this is a signal point. And here is again a wait mode. So wait mode means this is coming out. And at that same time, here is a signal also. So because this will be, sorry, this is not a wait. This is a wait. Here is a signal for both, where this is coming out, this is entry. At this point, again a signal is coming, this is coming out, next process will enter. And this is what we will be saying here is that repeat. Repeat means like this end process will be the entry section. This is entry section, so that's why I put as a P1 on. Then this particular portion is a critical section, and this is the exit section. Then P2 is till in this particular mode, P2 is not allowed. Then exit section, then P1 is out. Then P2 is on. And at the same time, in the exit section, reminder goes to P2 also. So P2 will come here. So that's how the loop will keep on doing. And this is until false. Until false means then the entire things will be suspended. So that's how. This is what I had talked about in the mutual exclusion. Now, if you try to see this mutual exclusion, the region of a code that two are more related to the process that are not executable at the same time in order to avoid the race conditions. So I have talked about the race conditions. That means like in the RS flip-flop, when the R and S is 1-1, under that condition, the race conditions occurs. So that is not permitted. So here, a process is having a entry point, that is a critical region entry, and the critical region leaving point. And this is a time interval. The next process is coming. Next process want to enter, doing an attempt to enter. B attempt to enter into critical region, but it is blocked. And when the B tries here, it is getting, because at this point B leaves and this room is free. So the B is entering into the critical region. And at this particular point, A cannot enter, nor the next process can enter. So this is the region of B's region. So this is a wait mode. This is a signal mode. Then again, next signal like that, this process continues. Here, I'm showing to you some entry with respect to, I believe that there will be another slide. I have kept it, maybe. Okay. Okay, it is the same slide. Okay. Now here, when we try to see across this particular case, dear students, you see this do entry sections, critical section, exit section, reminder sections. What does it mean? That means at the entry sections, controls the entry into a critical section and get lock on the required resources. That means if the P1 is the process is entering, it will get a control. It will get a control to enter into the critical sections, and at the same time, that P1 will lock the room, and it will able to acquire the resources. That is what. So this then P1 will be in the critical sections. That is a critical part. But when the P1 part is over, it will come to the exit sections. At that time, it will unlock that particular door. So remove the lock from the resource and let the other knows that it is in the critical section. That unlock, after doing unlock, it will give the key to the reminder sections that the person the process which is waiting for the next. So it will give the key to the P2. P2 will go and unlock it and enter. So this how the condition is keep on following. So that's that. And whenever this condition is fulfilled, then whenever it is true, then that is what I mean to say that it is in the process of changing. Now here, for the easy understanding, this particular process is being shown. Now, if you try to see this particular case, three processes there: entry, do entry critical sections, entry section, critical section, exist sections. When P is entering here, P is existing out. Then a reminder is going to P2, P2 is entering. That's how the things is going up. Now here, when the process P1 is entering, when the process P1 is entering, you can try to see this one. Here is again a same thing is that a flag I is getting activated. If the flag I is activated, what is going to happen is that, let us assume that this flag I is shown here, and it has to turn to J for meeting a condition that when a flag I is turning towards J, at that time the task given for that particular process or the burst time is getting over. So while flag J, a condition exists for this logical and conditions, and then that turns is equal to J. That is what indicating that if both are same, then till that time what will happen? Until that time is not met, this loop will keep on stand still there, or it will be blocked there. And after that, the next things will happen. That means by that time, till this particular point, this program is it is blocked. And once it is achieved, then it will go to the critical section, and this condition is become false because I was initially true. So now it become false. False is indicating P1 is out. When P1 is out, this false condition will also show that it will be allowing the P2 to remain in the queue for the same process. So when the P2 is here, then P2 will enter inside this. At that time, P2 will see the flag is true. Once the flag become false, again P2 will out, P3 will enter. So that's how this process goes on. Now, if you try to see in this particular case, here it is the same thing. Whatever you are seeing, everything I put it in this order so that it is easy to understand. Now here, when you try to see this one, the process P1 is entering. At that time, flag I is true, and it has to go up to J. So that's why instead of taking that condition, I put the case that when the S is less than equal to 0, that means if S is less than or equal to 0, that is the true conditions. Now, when this true conditions, when it become false, when this S is equal to 0 become 1. So when S is equal to 0, P1 is inside the critical sections. And when S become 1, P1 is about to come. P1 is completed his task. That means the burst time is over, and at that time that P1 is about to exit. So when P1 become 1, when S become 1, what is going to happen? 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. That is S is equal to 0. Under what condition? When a flag becomes when S become 1, under the false conditions. Under the false condition, S becomes 0. So where that 0 will go? That 0 will go to P2. So P2 will come here and it will enter here. So at that time, P2 is having 0. And again, when the S0 become 1, and the P2 is coming out, then this S is equal to 0 will go to P3. That's how this particular cycle will keep on rotating. Now here, if you try to see here, dear students, try to see P1 is entering into this critical sections. P1 is entering into this critical section. And once the P1, at this point, what is S is equal to 0? It is S is equal to 0. At this point, S is equal to 1. Then P1 is coming out. Then P2 is entering. When P2 is entering, S is equal to 0. Then P2, when the this one critical section at this point, when S is equal to 1, P2 is out. And when P3 enters, S is equal to 0. That is how this particular cycle goes. So this is what we are applying for the semaphore. Okay. So this is, you will see in this, in the case of the discussion. Now, if you try to see this particular section, there is one area I have put as a mutual exclusions. Another is nothing but a semaphore. Now, if you, in my notes, if you go across to the page number 51, there you can see that there are three essential approach for a mutual exclusions. That means it has to see that every process it takes up the certain responsibilities of highlighting the approach. That is one area, and another is that there should be a shared resources, and another is that it should that should be supported through an operating system. So that is a terms I have put across. Now, when we come to the next approach, that is a semaphore approach. Now, actually, semaphore is what? Semaphore is basically a numerical terms that you have to keep it in your mind. The semaphore is a numerical terms, and based on the numerical terms, the semaphore used to act. Now, actually, what exactly means the numerical terms? That is a very important things. When you try to see this particular figures, there are mutex in the operating systems I have shown, and computing semaphore in the operating systems that is put across, and semaphore in the operating system in the last figure. Now, what exactly is the semaphore? Actually, semaphore is basically used to solve this critical section problem when whatever is happening. And you have to understand that basically when we try to talk about a semaphore, it's basically an integer. So that is what here I have put S is equal to 0, 1. This is integer, just like a terms 0, 1, 0, 1. So binary term is there. So it will based either it will go based on the binary terms, or it will be using a counter to do this one. So semaphore can go as a counter or in the binary form. So there are two type of a semaphore: binary semaphore and counting semaphore. Now, semaphore has one thing, another important thing is that whenever you have to solve the critical section problem, that means this problem, there should be a mutual exclusions. That means there should be understanding between these two. As I to call and one mutual exclusion. What I have talked about the mutual exclusion. What is meant by exclusions? Keeping out. And mutual means understanding. So if there is understanding to keep out one among them, that is the very first thing. So for the condition of a semaphore, mutual exclusion is the very first things. The second is that if every process is coming, there is no need for every process to come into a semaphore. The process which is interested, those process only need to stand up in the queue. All other process no need to come. That is the second point. Third point is that every process should have some predefined time. It is not that this process will take 5 hours, this process will take 1 minute. That condition should not be there. Otherwise, if it takes 1 minute, it has to wait for 5 minutes until this one. So that is a starving condition. So there should be a bounded wait should be there. That's why that is another condition for a semaphore. Okay. Now, see, let's see these particular sections of the mutex in the operating system. Now, if you see in this figure, there are something is that a thread. Thread is what we talked about. It is a process. It do a small job. So this thread is entering here. This is a critical sections. So when we are using a mutex in the case where we will be using a word lock and unlock. Lock release. So this thread will enter. It will lock this room and it will unlock it, and then it will exit. That is what. Now another is that the thread entry this lock our room ne unlock and then that will exit. So this is the mutex behavior. Whereas semaphore behavior and one semaphore behavior is this one. semaphore is doing a big task. So it is based on the process. You can try to see. So here a multiple process is being coming. Now when we talk about this, wait and signal awareness. Wait and signal means a signal will this process will enter into a critical section under the wait command, and once the process completes, through a signal it will exit out. So that is what we talk under the wait and signal. Now like that, this is enter exit, or enter exit. Like that the process is keep on running. That is. Now third point is that binary semaphores. That same thing. It is going in the wait and signal. Process enters, exit, or enter, exit. So that is what we talk. Now here some highlights is there. Please understand this highlight. Mutex is for a thread. Thread is does the small job. Semaphore is for a process, do a big job. Mutex is essentially atomic and singular in nature. Atomic instant that changeover. So one process to the next process. Our gap is a very small gap, so that is atomic and singular in nature, independent task. Process is atomic, but not a singular in nature. Process is atomic, but not a singular in nature. When we talk about, you see this one. This in the mutex case, this is how it has shown. In this case, a multiple process can take place at a different time. Now you may ask, sir, why in the operating semaphore not engineer? Because you see that this has been allocated a different semaphore, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, a different semaphore. Now that's why I told you, one is a binary semaphore, another semaphore is ranging between -infinity to infinity. So that is the counting semaphore. This is based on the counting semaphore you can able to do. Now the third is the mutex is a binary in nature. Semaphore are two type, binary and counting. Just now I told you. You keep it in your mind. Suppose if they ask more detail, then based on this you can elaborate. So this slide is a very important. Operations with a lock and release, whereas in this case that part is missing. In this case, semaphore is using a wait and signal. Okay, if a lock and release one, wait and signal. That is a missing here. Semaphore work in a user space. Here, user space. Remember what is in the user space and the kernel space. So whereas semaphore works in a kernel space. Okay, only one thread is required a mutex at a time. Whereas in this case, a multiple thread can be done. So because it is going with a multiple process can do. Mutex is for an object. Semaphore is an integer value. These things you keep it in your mind. Okay. So okay. These are the things which I have talked to you about the semaphore in the operating system. If you suppose these notes I was preparing while I was in the Thrissur Medical College bed. So that's how that time I written this one. So that's why this was beneficial for you people to watch this slide in a better way for understanding. Okay. Now here, this is what I shown. This is a critical region. A process is coming. Two processes coming. When this process enters, then this process cannot enter. A dot. So this is a critical region. So this is called as the boundary. So if any function or a variable or any code you are running over here, so for one process, after completing, that process will come out, then this process will enter. Okay. Now you see this one. This is what I mean to say in my slide I have shown. And number slide a simple way. Wait s while s is less than equal to 0. Under this up to when ns is less than is equal to 0. This section this is a trap conditions, because if this function has to execute, then s has to come 1, because if under this condition, if s is equal to 0, -1. So that means it is not moving, it is still there. But by the time s is equal to 1, it 1 s becomes 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. Are you getting my points? So that is the actual condition. But here it is, whenever this one conditions come here, so even even if you are putting 0, it is -1. So every time it is -1. But by the time it is 1, this condition is going to justify, it is okay. Then that condition, that is what I told you, it becomes true and it comes here. And once it comes here, it becomes 1. Angane s is equal to 1, it becomes 2. Idu varne eppada when you go into counting mode. That is what I mean to say. Okay. Yeah. This figure is the same way I explained now about this one. Here also the same. When s is equal to 0, then it is in the s is equal to 0, it will be in the trap. When s becomes 1, that is here it is shown. At that time, what will happen? TP1, it will be going into out. Then TP2 enter. This TP2 enter when s is equal to 0. When s become 1, TP2 becomes false. That means TP2 out. And this wait, what is wait? Do wait critical section, then signal S reminder sections while true. That means there is a 2 code is there, code 1, code 2. This is code 1, code 2. That means the wait point is given, signal point is there. So this is a critical section. This theory, if you write it, that is sufficient. Okay. And about my slide, this is what I mean to say. In the explanation, this is code 1, code 2. That is what I written here, and this is the explanation of this one. That is when P1 enters, what happens to P2? P1 enter, P2 will not enter. So now P2 will enter. That is a clear-cut explanation. Okay. Now let's see some of my notes point. Okay. You know, what are my notes? How will you going to see my notes? So dear students, if you want to see my notes in the things, these are the things, just go through it. This is just, I am going to show you. I just made it some important point to read. If you want, I can share this one to you also. But it does not mean that only this one, everything is important. Just for you people, I have to teach, then that's why I thought. But because of this, since I have made the separate figures, all this thing is explained in that. Just now I talked about this one, about all this responsibility. Hardware support mutual exclusion, software support mutual exclusion. Is hardware is nothing but hardware components that we are using for this mutual exclusion. Software is nothing but interrupt. That is what I mean to say here. Okay. What is semaphore mutex? I have explained. This is nothing but the technical things you have to write about semaphore and the mutex. Whatever is my notes, if you can understand and you can compress it sufficient. This is what in the mutex, one by one it is taking. A lock, it will take if it is going into lock, then it will do the work, then it will unlock, come out, then it will give the key to second. That is what I mean to say. In the semaphore is also semaphore in that, it will go with the counter. It is a counter type. What I will explain you into integer type or binary type. Okay, that is what. Or question paper message passing. Message passing is means what? A is passing a message. Let us say A is passing a message to B, and at the time B is also occupying. Then if B is passing to this message to say C, that means there should be a shared memory model. So this is nothing but a concurrency. That means if A is sharing, at the time B will be not, it will be waiting. So for holding. So we have to see the concurrency model way the two processes should able to. That is A and B might be two processors sharing the same physical memory. A and B might be two programs running in the same computer, sharing the same file system. A and B might be two thread in the same program sharing a particular Java object. That means if you are sharing also, there should be a mutual exclusions among the two process or the two mm, systems. Now this is a message passing. When you are passing the message, there should be the page transfer. How many page you are transferring? What is how the connection? Everything you are building. What is the what you call handshaking you are following up? That is a part of this message passing. So that's how you can able to understand. This is what receive box, critical section, send box. At a time, if you are doing this particular follow, then there will not be any error build up. So that is one area. Now coming to the another side, now a classical problem of a synchronization. In the classical problem of a synchronization, there are three things: reader digest problem, producer consumer problem. If producer consumer problem, there is another term is there, what is a bounded buffer, and thirdly, it is a dining philosopher problem. Now, when we try to see these three things, these three things can be solved using a semaphore because this process is highly processed. It needed a more task to do. That's why it has to handle by semaphore. So producer consumer problems, and what is coming, it talks under this particular state that the two processes are called producer and consumer and runs in a concurrently to share the common buffer. And you have understand what is meant by buffer. So this is the buffer. So producer is putting all the items inside this buffer, and there is a 5 room is there. In the 5 room, your all item has come, so counter becomes 5. So this producer will pump in, this will pump out. So this pump in and pump out should be mutually exclusive. That is the first condition. And if every whatever is needed, that should be put into the buffer. That is number 2. And there should not be a situation that nothing is there and this is waiting for the item. So that is the third condition. So all this condition is handled by the semaphore. Now here, whatever I explained to you, that is being applied over here. And when you try to see this one, you can you put it to that one, and based on that, this atomic operation, this weight and signal for the producer and consumer is coming. Yeah, when you explain in the exam, when you are writing this one, whatever you write, just a small figure, but you don't forget to write these sections. This is an algorithm section. Even if it is, you will find a small error. That is not a problem. But if you write this one, you get a maximum mark. So you would a producer one, a weight signal, weight is there, and the signal is there. So weight entry is there. Weight exists. Weight entry means that whatever is the item you are putting into buffer, and once the signal F is indicating that it is full. So this is the entry point. This is the full. And what is this one? Weight S and the buffer S. This is indicating a lock statement and signal statement. Maybe that when the producer is producing, at that time consumer should not consume. That's the statement. Once the same image is coming here. Do weight F, weight S. ഇവിടെ തിരിഞ്ഞു പോയി. ഇത് ഫുല്ലാ. ഇവിടെ empty ആയിരുന്നു, ഇത് full ആയി. ഈ full ഇവിടെ വന്ന്. So this is full. Then it becomes empty here. So weight F and weight S. So when this particular thing is that, then the consumer is using, producer should not pump in. So and after this one is empty, 4 empty. See, 4 empty, full empty akilla, onnu baki undu. So after that the cycle will repeat. So like this, you go through all my different algorithms, algorithm steps. So that will give a clarity. Now we go to these sections. Now here that is the continuations. So there are F is equal to first 0 plus 1 1. So like that, after 5, when it comes to 4, 4 വരുമ്പോൾ true. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് what will happen? Producer will start pumping. So like that you read it. Reader-writer problem. When a reader is writing, reader is reading, writer will not write. When writer is writing, reader will not see that what it is writing. Ada ivideyum parayunnu. So here also, if you try to see, you will be finding a algorithms. In this algorithm, it is the same thing. Is that if you see, the semaphore is using a counter. So this is a read count. So under this particular case, what exactly is doing here? Number of reader I have put it. Now, if you see the writer is putting into a lock critical section, wait W, signal W. So writer operation is there. Now this writer operation, if you try to see, that is coming over here. Now in this particular case, what is happening is that wait W and signal W. This means it is the first reader. The reader will be coming, and after that signal M and wait M, and here read count is showing. If the signal M and wait M, and what does it means is that the number of reader, it will be reading that particular text. Under that situation, writer cannot change the value. Ada ivide holding, because writer should not change. Ada ivide kaanchu vechirikkunne. That means under this particular case, the signal, and here it is showing signal M, wait M, acquiring the lock to access the read count. Read count increment, that means read count is equal to, what is read count? Read count is talking about when one reader can access to read, that is based on the this semaphore is equal to, that is M is equal to 1. So W എന്തിനു വേണ്ടിയാ? റൈറ്ററിന് വേണ്ടി. റീഡറിന് എന്തുവാ? M. So here wait M കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്ന signal M. ഇതിന്റെ അകത്താ ഇത് കാണിച്ചു വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. So you remember this one. This is what I mean to say. ഇവിടെ നോക്കുമ്പോഴല്ലേ wait W, signal W, it is the same thing. Wait W, signal W. ഇതിന്റെ അകത്താ വരുന്ന number of reader. Maybe that I will share this also to you people. This is the same note, only ഞാൻ ഇത് ഇച്ചിരി ഇങ്ങനെ made it for eye catching. Dining philosopher നാത്ത് there are 5 philosophers, and there are 5 spoons. Every time one philosopher will be holding 2 spoons for eating the food stuff in front of him. So that's why that is a 2 chopsticks. So every time it is eating, and after that it will think to keep down the process. So eating and thinking, these are the 2 different. So this is a case with respect to the concurrency. So the concurrency is coming here, eating and thinking. Not that eating, it is going as a parallel. So this is, and no philosopher should starve. Everybody should get. So everybody is eating for small eating. So that's all. Idinte vannu kazhnya the same thing is there. Inathu or trick on additional. What you have to think, since it is a 5 philosopher, you will be having a mod. Ivide mod varunundu. So wait chopstick I, ivide wait chopstick I vannu kazhnya signal for chopsticks. That means it is taking a fork there, or a spoon there, then it is putting down the fork on the table. So ada ivide karne, and each time the fork it is taking, it is going with a mod 5, because if I is equal to 0, so 0 plus 1 1 mod 5 is nothing but it is equal to 1. Anganeya ada ivide cheyidu vechirikkunnu, and that's how the thing is that idinte complex, we can make it more complex, but you people don't need to have that complexity. But for the exam purpose, this is necessary to write, so don't forget. ഇത് സെയിം ആ. ഇതിപ്പം P0 കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒന്ന് F0 ഒന്ന് F1. That means I am mentioning here, ഇപ്പം suppose this is no, this is F0 side P0 P4 chopstick. F1 വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ P0 P1, F2 വന്നാൽ P1 P, F2 P1 P2. അതാ ഇവിടെ ഇവിടെ കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്ന എന്തുവാ, sorry you have to understand that there is with respect to chopstick, I put the 2 person. With respect to chopstick, I am putting 2%. With respect to chopstick, I am putting 2%. So it is the same thing if I am putting 1 person with the 2 chopstick. So this the solution of a deadlock is being shown. at a time everybody cannot take. So that will be a deadlock situation. So this is what here you see P0, P1, two chopstick. So if F0, P0 need, if a P0 is occupied by F0, then F1 is also occupied by the P0. And here P1 is occupied by F1 and P2 is P1 is occupied by F2. That means at every time there will, one will be occupying the two chopstick. So that is a deadlock situations. So this is what you can go through it. Now the next point we are talking about under the module 3 is a deadlock. And what is deadlock? A set of process is said to be deadlock when every process in the set waits for an event that can be caused another process to set. That means setup process is in the ready queue, not ready queue, in the waiting state. But every process want to use the CPU at the same instant. Then that time what will happen if the CPU is not a multiprocessor or if the process is greater than the multiprocessor capability, then it will be in the deadlock condition. So this is what this figure, don't forget P1, P2, R1, R2. So when there is a two processes there, every process, every resources will be either assigned to or the process will be waiting for the next resource to grab. So under this particular case, the deadlock will occur when there is a circular condition is coming. If there is no circular, suppose if there is no arrow, then the deadlock is not there. Or this may go into some other task, then in that case, deadlock will not occur. So conditions of the deadlock, mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption, circular wait. This is a very thing I have talked about. Hold and wait means if one process is holding, other has to wait. So this is known as a deadlock situation. So if there is a mutual exclusions coming here, then automatically these conditions we can reduce it. Other mutual exclusion. When one process at a time use the one resources, say for example printer, it cannot share for the others. So this is the condition of a deadlock. No preemptions. So when we talk about a no preemption, resources can be released voluntarily by the process itself. A process cannot be taken from the process unless the process release. So a preemption condition is that there should be the resource which is held by a the particular process, it has to release. Then only that conditions will be satisfying. So if under the no preemption condition, it will cause a deadlock. In a circular, wherever circular comes, deadlock comes. Resource gap is nothing but this is another university questions. Deadlock is described based on the graph. That is based on the allocations of this particular graph. Now, how this allocation is taking place based on the vertex to the process. So here, the particular graph is been shown with respect to the vertex and edge, where process is there, resources is there. These resources may be holding, having a single instance and multiple instance. You have to remember that means that same resource can be supporting to a multiple process. Say for example, printer. Now in our college, where in the if you have a more than one computer, that can be attached to a single printer. So that means the instance I'm talking. So if two computers are attached to a printer, then there is a two instance. If there is a 10 computer attached to single printer, then there is a 10 instance. So that is what instance means. So this is this I put for your questions also. So this is a simple structure is that under this condition, if you see a process is going to resource, process going to resource, going to this process, coming here. Here is a two instance. From here, it will go either here or here. So it is a circular route. So this is a deadlock situations. So what is how to avoid this process if it has used these resources, because this process is used by this one, assigned to. So it will release to P2. Then P2 will be released if P2 is have used this resource, it will release for P1. So under that condition, only the deadlock condition will not take place. Here, no deadlock because it is going here, it is going out, coming here, going out. So no deadlock situations. Now, this one, how the prevention, deadlock condition is one important question. Deadlock preventions are the more or less are the same day structure. If you are able to understand, you can put it very straightforward under the same structures. Now, next what we will see these are the certain theory, and we will come to a point. Banker's algorithm. Banker algorithm is normally the questions you can see. So why this algorithm is used? That is very important. Why these algorithms need? Because banker algorithm is going to overcome the issues related to the deadlock. So wherever the deadlock conditions occurs, this banker algorithm try to overcome this particular problem by providing a situation in which this algorithm will try to share the resources, and it will try to manage the resources in which the resources can be equally done based on the task. Now, what is that task? If you try to see here, what are the things here? Deadlock avoidance, bankers, deadlock avoidance. That is a banker's algorithm. Whenever the deadlock conditions occurs, then only this will this problem can be avoided based on this algorithm. So before the deadlock occurs, the banker algorithm try to overcome. Now, what are the things here? There are 5 processes. Allocation resource. These 5 processes having a, B, C, 3 resources, and every resources is assigned some resources. Like A is having a resource 0 for a process 0, B is having 1. These are nothing but instance. So for a process 0, A is having only no instance, 1 instance, C instance. Like that, every process is having certain instance. Now, maximum these resources can be allocated to every process is for a process P0 under the case with respect to these resources is 7 for A, B for 5, 3. Like that, it is specified here. Suppose if it is 2 here, 2 here, 1 is the maximum it has got. Like that, it has. Now, the current work, if you can see I mark it as, this is in the questions it is given, it will give as a current work. Now, after that, what it is given, here it is given the activities. Activities, what we are going to find. This we have to find. So how will you start? We start with finding this section. What is the remaining need? Maximum minus allocations. That is the state forward minus, you will get it here. Now, this is the given current block. Now, what we are going to do is that we will see that current available resources, is it greater than or a lesser than this one? So that is what we are going to see. Or the remaining resources is greater than the current resources, or that conditions is written, or the remaining resources is less than current resource. That conditions what we are going to see. That is what I have put. Need is less than work. What is need here? Our need is this one. This should be less than this one, current available work. That means it is, for example, you take a case like this one, is that I put it here as a 10 rupees. And if it is, you are going to purchase something, it is 20 rupees. So 10 rupee condition, if it is less than 20 rupees condition, then what will happen? You will take a help from this side to get a 10 rupees. So 10 rupees or more than 10 rupees, whatever is that. So 10 plus 10, 20, then you will carry out, either you will purchase that item or not. That is how you do. So here is comparing is doing it. That is what you can try to see here. Every time a process is compared. 743 is compared with the 332, whether this one is lesser than this one or not. So here if you see that one, 1-to-1 integer is being verified. So the need resources is less than current work or not. So this one is not smaller, this is greater. So that's why this will not be taken for carrying out that particular activities. So the next process is taken. If this is smaller than this one, what is going to happen? Since this one is smaller, 122 is smaller than this one, immediately this one is taken, 200 is taken here, 200 is added to 1222. So 200 is added to, so 200 is added to the 332, that becomes 500. It is a P1, I forgot. This is, where is that? 200 is added to 122. Oh, that is what, correct. So 200 is added to 122. So, sorry, I repeat again. 200 is added to 332. So the 532 has taken. Now this 532 is going to compare with the next. 532 is going to compare with the next process. Which is the next process? 600. Because here this is over. The next process is taken. 600. So 600 is being compared. Under this condition, this is not okay. So this is discarded. Now the next process we are taking into consideration is nothing but what? 211. 211 is considered with the 532. So where is 211? 211 is here. 211 is considered with 532. Whether this is condition is satisfied. If this here this condition is satisfied, so what is going to 211 is going to add with whatever is there in this particular in this particular resource, that is additional 211. So 532 plus 211. So 532 plus 211 is taken 743. Angane 743 compare, this is okay. Then again 743 is added with whatever is there in the 002. So that is 002. That is how added, and that's how this one. So finally you will be getting a case up to here as a 1057. So E 1057 and the 1057. So what is the current safe of the process? That is P1, P3, P4, P0, P2. If you go in this way, then there is no deadlock. And here you see 1057. That means A will be having 10 instance, B will be having 5 instance, C will be having 7 instance. So that's how every process will keep on performing these activities, and thereby this you have to fill this one. That is based on the current work and remaining need. Whenever this condition is satisfied, you are adding with the these resources. So that will be coming into this position and keep on comparing. So this banker algorithm is also one of the important segment of the discussion. And this deadlock detection, this is just a theory. Deadlock detection under the multiple instances will be the conditions of the bankers algorithm, and that is a safety algorithm. And single instances is based on the duty cycle. That means how many duration that particular resource is holding it. So that's how. So these are nothing but the cases, and this is just a resources. And coming to this one this is for a theory purpose experiment. Deadlock recovery. How deadlock recovery is you can able to either the one solution is that if a deadlock occurs, either you should abort. That means you should come out from the circular case. And second thing is that second option is preemptive. And I have told you, whenever we are doing a time distribution, then the non-preemptive will be creating a deadlock. Suppose let us think that on a if a deadlock situation comes, if one VIP vehicles has to come, but it is coming after a long time, and all the traffic is being hold, so that will cause a deadlock situation. That is what I mean to say. So this covers the basic points related to our pointer discussions. This is I have already discussed the mutual exclusions, critical sections problem related. So any point, any questions you want to ask in this particular point? And if not, we will go to the module, next module, that is 4. So we take a break here, and we for 5 minutes, and then I will resend this signal again, so that we can conclude with the next section. In this meantime, I am asking any questions, anything you want to ask in this particular instance. Okay, so let's go to the next instant. I will resend this particular signal back to you again. Thank you.